Miami Dolphins mode. Yeah! Miami Dolphins mode. What? Miami Dolphins. Woo! Mode. Yeah! Woo!
What's up, Dolphin fans, and thank you for coming on the Miami Dolphins Mo channel. Today, we're going to get into the Miami Dolphins DB depth for the 2020 season. Now, this is only the cornerbacks. This is not the safety. That's another video. All right. With this position, the cornerbacks, it should be our best position on the team. Talking about defense, offense, just literally the best position unit that we have. All right. We picked up a DB from free agency. We also picked up a DB through the draft in the first round. So, and we also have other DBs from last season that we carried over, okay, with great potential. And so let's just get right into it and start talking about the position group. All right, so first off is Xavier Howard. If you're a Dolphin fan, you know who Xavier Howard is. If you're an NFL fan, you still know who Xavier Howard is. All right, he is a shutdown corner, number one corner. He should go up against all the best receivers, the number one receivers of the opposite team. Great man-to-man cover corner. He presses great on the line. He's able to get hands on the receiver, and when the receiver runs his route, he's very athletic to switch his hips, be able to keep up step for step with the receiver, and contest balls thrown his way. The quarterbacks usually stay away from Xavier Howard. They don't like to throw there, only if they must. And when they do, there's a 50% chance that he might come up with an interception. Okay? If he pats it down, you're probably on the lucky side. All right? He's been doing it for a little bit. He is a tall corner, long corner. That's the way Brian Flores usually has corners like that. He's covered elite receivers in the league, DeAndre Hopkins and others, just the top, and he's done great against them. So it's going to be exciting. He actually signed the highest contract by a DB in 2019. Okay, he was the highest paid DB in the league. We gave him that contract. It was well deserved. He led the league in 2018 in interceptions with 7. In 2019, he got hurt after the 5th game or in the 5th game, and he didn't play for the rest of the season. He probably could have came back, but I don't think Brian Flores wanted him to come back. He wanted him to heal up since, the season went the way it was, and he probably wanted to see how his other guys were going to do, so he probably told Xavier Howard, hey, you know what, relax, hang out, and then come back next year, So and it's going to be very exciting. He should be a shutdown. What he usually does when he plays is that he's able to take away one side of the football field because he has the receiver covered. All right. So let's go he's one of the best, and he's one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. Okay. Just to top it off. All right. Now let's go to the next DB that we have on here, and we got him in the free agency, and we made him. Now we signed him to what is now the highest contract for a DB. So we got the number 1 and the number 2 as highest paid DBs in the NFL in our secondary. All right, and it is Byron Jones. Byron Jones is one of the top cornerbacks in the league. He is a true number 1 cornerback. Okay, so Xavier Howard was one. Byron Jones is one as well. We have 2 number 1 cornerbacks in our secondary. That's crazy. All right. Byron Jones, they don't throw to him too many times, because he has the receiver covered. He doesn't get too many interceptions. I don't think he got one last year or the year before, but he also doesn't let receivers get receptions on him. Okay, he's always patting the ball down or pressing him at the line of scrimmage, always step for him. Very athletic, able to switch the hips on the drop of a dime. And he's a long corner like Xavier Howard, and he's done very, very well. He's the highest paid cornerback in the NFL, right? And Xavier Howard is the second. I mean, this is like when you see a team, they have a top cornerback, and you're like, okay, well, no, that's a number 1 cornerback right there. That's the guy. We got 2 of those in our secondary. Just take a second. 2 of those in our secondary. So we're gonna have your number 1 receiver covered, and we're gonna have your number 2 receiver covered. All right. And then basically, and also if you got him on one side and the other, you really don't have to switch him sides. If he goes one way, he's going against Xavier Howard. If he goes the other way, he's going against Byron Jones. I don't know how you want to play that. You could do it to whichever way. Maybe Byron Jones is better against a certain receiver than Xavier Howard, or vice versa. And you have the option of switching it up whenever you want. That's a great option to have. I'm telling you, this is nice. All right, so they're kind of like the same. Just Xavier Howard gets more turnovers, and Byron Jones. It might be with the interceptions. It might be that he's not that good, or it might be that he just hasn't had his luck is bad with the interceptions. Sometimes it happens, but 2 years, that's a long time. So, let's see what this season comes up with. He doesn't get too many interceptions, but they don't catch too many balls on him. So that's going to be very exciting to see there. Now let's move on to the next one. All right, so the next one is Noah Igbinoghene. All right, coming the rookie that we got from the first round in the 2020 NFL Draft. Came out of Auburn. He is a fast cornerback. His family were in track and field. He actually went to college as a receiver, but he didn't have great hands, so they moved him over to DB and so he's only been playing DB for the last 2 years. But he is right there with the receiver. He's very athletic himself. All these guys, Xavier Howard, Byron Jones, and Noah, they kind of look the same. They're the same type of body frame, somewhat, move the same. They all have a little bit of a difference, like they're a little different, but they kind of do the same. And Noah, that's a first round pick that we spent after having Xavier Howard and Byron Jones on the team. So, that's just strengthening a strength right there, big time. A lot of people saying that he's probably going to be a nickel corner, go after the slot receiver. And if he's able to get on them just like he was in college, that's going to be the number 1, the number 2, and the number 3 receiver locked down. This kind of reminds me of a secondary that we had back in the day, which was Patrick Surtain, Sam Madison, and Terrell Buckley. But I think they were all outside corners, though. But they had interceptions like crazy. I think Terrell Buckley and Patrick Surtain had 7. They were tied for the league lead, which was 7 or something like that. And then Sam Madison had like 5 or 6. It was crazy. So it reminds me of that, and it kind of looks like it could be something like that. We just locked down a lot of receivers in those days. But Noah, he's very talented. He's a great talent. He needs to get groomed. He's only been playing the position for 2 years in college. But, like I said in the draft recap, having Xavier Howard and Byron Jones to be your mentors, you should be able to move up, those steps pretty fast. Because, when you train with the best, your standards kind of raise a bit, because, you're seeing what these guys are doing and you want to get there. If you go to a team that's not as great, then, the standards might not be as high, right? So he's going to see that firsthand. He's going to look at these guys and, probably step up. I'm thinking that they're going to help him out, coach him up, and then I'm pretty sure they want to be part of one of the best secondaries in the league. So, they're going to try to get together and, teach him up a bit. But he has great talent. He's a first round talent. There's a lot of potential there. I'm excited to see what's going on. He could run. He could catch up with all the receivers. He could also play outside corner too. You never know. You might want to put Byron Jones in the slot or something like that. You might want to do a mix-up and put him on the outside. There's many options here. The options are basically endless. And it's exciting. It's big time exciting. All right, so let's move on to the 4th DB that I have here, and that is Nick Needham. Nick Needham came last year. He was an undrafted rookie that we got last year, and in the preseason, man, it was bad for him. They were throwing on him, and in the beginning of the season, he was getting passed on a lot. They were getting receptions on him a lot. He got benched for a bit, and then at the end of the season, everybody went down. Everybody got injured. We were picking people up of the waiver every single week, trying to get new DBs here and there. And one of the only guys that came out and really started showing up was Nick Needham. And at the end of the season, you started seeing the potential that he could be playing. He could, and he could possibly be a starter with the DBs that we had last year. But now he could definitely be a great rotational, cornerback. He's a nickel cornerback, which we lost because Bobby McCain went over to safety. So he was playing nickel and he was doing all right. He was right there with the receivers. He was moving. He's a little short. I think no, but he's like 6 feet. But he's quick. He's a quick dude, twitchy guy, and he can move around. There's definitely a lot of potential that he has there, and I'm excited to see what he did this offseason and how it's going to translate into the next season with some experience under his belt, being a rookie, coming in his second year, knowing the system and all that. It should be something nice, and and with him at the end of the season, or you can say from the beginning, he got better every single game, like you saw improvement every single game. And he was there. He did get a few penalties, but hey, he's being aggressive, and things of that nature. It wasn't like, stupid penalties like hitting the guy when he's not looking or after. It was, him being aggressive. Yeah, you don't want him to get some of those penalties, but he's a rookie, undrafted rookie. He's just trying to hang. He's trying to get in there, But at least they were aggressive penalties and very close to not being penalties, So, it's very exciting. I want to see what he's going to do this upcoming season. All right. Now, the fifth DB that we have, you probably forgot about him. We drafted him in the 2017 draft. And his name is Cordrea Tankersley. You remember him? Okay, Cordrea, he came out his rookie season. It wasn't a great season, but he was able to get some one-on-one matchups, and he was right there with the receivers when he was covering them. He had a decent rookie season, but I don't remember if he was better at zone or in man coverage. And so he's been injured for about a year and a half. I think there's potential there. But it's been so long, and last year he didn't play at all. Right? But they kept him on. They kept him on all live season. Brian Flores did, and he's still on the roster right now, right? So there must be a reason there. I know that he was very, he's on some plays because he got burned sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. He got, they threw the ball on him, and sometimes there were situations where they threw on the ball to him a lot more because Xavier Howard, they weren't throwing it his way. But he needs to improve. But you saw a glimpse here and there on how good he could be. Actually, his rookie year, he tipped 2 balls up, and Rashad Jones got an interception from each of those balls that he tipped up when he was covering a receiver. So there's something there. I think I want to see how the injury comes about, but he could be somebody that might surprise you this upcoming season, especially since he hasn't played in about a year and a half. A year and a half worth of games. And maybe he comes back. I'm excited to see because I always thought that he had some potential there. Okay, so let's see what happens with him. All right, and then the last 3 are Jamal Perry, Ken Webster, and Nate Brooks. Now these guys, I'm putting them on the same category because they're all pretty much the same. They're actually better on run plays than they are on coverage plays, but they're kind of close. Right, so against their run, they do tackle. I do remember them from last season. They do come up to the line and they tackle, but they need to cover a little better. But they all have potential. They're all right there, still catching. They're like a foot or two behind, which in the NFL is a game of inches. But if they're able to get there, there might be something for them. But they might be on special teams more, especially with all depth that we have. But I think they're rookies. Ken Webster was a rookie. Nate Brooks, I think he was there for about a couple years. So, it all depends. But that is the depth for the 2020 DB depth chart. Is exciting. I want to see what goes on. And, it should be the strength of our defense and the strongest position that we have on our team. Thank you. That's it. Thank you so much for your time. And if you have any comments, anything, just leave them down below. And thank you. Go Dolphins.